The book of Job has often been used by critics of Christianity to show that God is morally repugnant. One big reason is why God allowed Job to experience so much suffering at the hand of Satan. Basically, there's this dialogue between God and Satan, or the accuser. Job 1:8, God says, "Have you seen my servant Job? He's awesome." Satan says, "He only likes you because you've blessed him with wealth. Let me at him, and by the time I'm through with him, he'll stop being righteous and curse you to your face." I'm paraphrasing, by the way. God says, sure, Satan does his thing, and Job's life is in ruins. So, Job is in grief. He doesn't know why he suffers. His friends come and say that Job must have done something wrong to deserve this punishment. Job denies it. But then God begins to speak to Job in chapter 38. And this, I believe, is a key to understanding the book as a whole. He asks, "Where were you when I created the foundations of the earth? Who measured it out? Who laid its foundations?" God goes through dozens of rhetorical questions like this. The obvious answer is that Job wasn't there, and neither were we. We don't have God's perspective or his infinite wisdom, and so even in the most extreme level of suffering, we just can't make these judgment claims against God's goodness because we don't have the full picture. That'd be wildly presumptuous of us. If we take the book of Job and think that it gives us leverage to accuse God for being morally unfair, we are moving in the exact opposite direction that the book of Job was intended to take us. Reading Job, we do get an insider's look at why Job suffered, right? That dialogue between God and Satan. But we actually don't get as much insider information as we might be inclined to think. Here's why. God initiated the interaction. He's not reacting impulsively against the accuser. It's the other way around. God was the one calling the shots this whole time. So we are still faced with the reality that we don't know why God chose for all of this to happen to Job. We don't know why God initiated the conversation. All we know is that he used Satan, the accuser, as a means to lead Job into a period of suffering. Again, that's a conclusion we are led to when we see God speak in Job 38. What does this mean for us? When we're struggling to understand something about God, do we just throw our hands in the air and say, God is far beyond our knowledge. He works in mysterious ways we'll never understand? I'm hesitant to go there too quickly. Yes, we don't share in God's infinite knowledge, but oftentimes Christians chalk things up to the mystery of God because they don't want to think. That's thoughtless. God calls us to wisdom, and there's nothing wrong about wrestling with these questions. The problem with Job was that he elevated himself above the wisdom of God, even calling God cruel in chapter 30. At the end of the day, we don't fully know, but that's expected. If Christianity is true, then it makes sense that we wouldn't fully understand God, who holds perfect knowledge and wisdom. But that doesn't mean we have nothing to say at all. There's a lot more we could discuss, but feel free to drop any follow-up questions in the comments and I'll take a look. Next week, I'm going to give my reaction to the famous challenge posed by the late Christopher Hitchens. He was an atheist who would challenge his Christians to give just one example of something moral, which a Christian could do, but a non-Christian cannot. A number of Christians have already responded, but my approach is a little different than what I've heard by others. Should be good. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.